Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Riverhead News Review podcast. Times Review web editor Graham Parpan. With me is News Review editor Michael White and associate web editor Vera Chinisi. And we're talking about Riverhead schools this week. Lots of news going on in Riverhead schools. The big story on the front page of today's news review is layoffs proposed for the Riverhead School District. Mike, you had the story. Tell us a little bit about it.
Sure, Grant. Due to a combination of steep state aid cuts that have been proposed from the governor and a looming potential 2% tax cap that could become law as early as this year, Riverhead School District as well as school districts across Long Island are scrambling to get to their expenditures down, moving forward. Part of it is planning for next year, and part of it is keeping the years ahead in mind, which is why some of these measures seem pretty drastic. In Riverhead, there are 40 positions that are slated to be eliminated next school year, including 15 teachers, 4 administrators. The employees whose positions being cut found out on Friday, right before their week-long break. Schools across Long Island are off this week. And Superintendent Nancy Carney told me the reason for that was to give the employees some time at home to absorb the news and to start planning for finding another job, getting their resumes together, and things like that. And it's part of the good news, at least for the tenured teachers and administrators. I don't know about the support staff, but part of the good news is state law requires that when the district does hire teachers back in certain departments, that they hire the teachers that they laid off in order of seniority. So some of these teachers could be getting their jobs back even as soon as next year, depending on retirements, and in the years ahead, they would be eligible to come back. So hopefully that happens. I know the school district this week is trying to work out a retirement incentive to encourage some teachers who are able to retire to do that. They'd probably get about $25,000 to do so, and that would maintain some of the newer teachers who get paid a lot less.
Yeah, you mentioned the tax cap, and you also talked about the possibility of teachers being hired back. We had a lot of questions about the tax cap. We were talking earlier about this, about the 2% tax cap. Long term, it might make it more difficult for any of these teachers to come back, that these positions might be gone, and a tax cap could, I guess, mean future layoffs, right? And there's a lot of questions.
One of the biggest questions that I've asked, and I still haven't really gotten a good answer, I hope to make some more phone calls today, is, with the cost of everything rising every year, heating oil, gasoline for the buses, other sort of maintenance costs, as well as teacher salaries, and how is it possible to stay under that 2% without having layoffs every single year until you dwindle the budget down to zero?
Yeah, and a whole other element to this. I mean, that's not the only story on the front page of the news review this week. And if you haven't picked up the paper, pick it up on newsstands. Also check us out on Twitter, and you can also check us out on Facebook as well. And one other story is about school bond plans. That's something you've been covering for a while, Vera. What's happening with that?
Well, there is a committee of administrators, teachers, and community members who have been meeting about twice a month. Now I think they're going to meet about once a month since September. And they have been charged with the task of devising a plan that could be supported by the community for district-wide improvements at the buildings and grounds. And I've attended a few of these meetings, and I'd have to say that the attitude has been really positive at these meetings. And the people in attendance, they're really committed to coming up with this plan. You even have people who voted against the bond last February attending these meetings because they want to see a plan that everybody can get behind. They were originally supposed to present this plan in March. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. Probably we're looking at next fall, maybe next October. But I think doing it this way is probably their best hope for success because think that the community support, community input was is considered as much for the last bond proposal,
which was defeated.
So there you have it. And that's just some of the schools coverage we have this week in the Riverhead News Review. Thanks for Michael White and Vera Chinisi. I'm Graham Parpan. Check back with us next week. We'll have another podcast.